Hello my fellow commanders, Ed here, and I've got myself another new ship. This one here, hopefully, able to help me increase my earning capabilities, and it is a Lakon Type 7, and I fitted this out so I've got 216 tons of cargo space that I can move around. And with this, with sort of lots of different runs and routes that I've done back and forth, I found that you can generally make about 500,000 credits in a little round trip. And by a round trip, I mean sort of between two stations, jumping back and forth. This particular route that I'm doing, on the way back, I'm importing slaves, and it's illegal in the system that I'm bringing them back to. So I've got to sort of, I find that it doesn't work as well if I kind of go the cool runnings, silent running, cool runnings. Now that is a film. If I go kind of silent runnings and try and cool myself down and drift in slowly and try and sneak in under the radar, I find it's kind of more effective if I just burn as fast as I can, try and jump into the station from the sort of planet side of it, so that you end up near the entranceway, and just try and get in to the letterbox as quickly as possible. And I find that I haven't been caught yet doing this technique, so I was quite lucky here in this jump that you can see the target system that I'm going to is almost behind the planet. It's quite annoying when that happens. You have to go into Super Cruise, move around the planet a little bit, and then jump to the system. But with the Lakon Type 7, I'm finding I can generally make around 2 to 3 million credits within an hour, and that's a sort of a casual hour of play, and that's kind of guaranteed. Whereas before, with the bounty hunting that I was doing, it was a bit sporadic what bounties you got. Sometimes you had to kind of jump in and out of the resource extraction site, or the kind of unidentified signal sources and things that you were dropping into weren't as good. Although now they've updated the mission system with PowerPlay and 1.3 update, it looks a lot more intuitive, and a lot like you can make quite a bit of credits just from kind of doing the missions. So I'm definitely going to look into that as well. I've got to admit, I've kind of haven't picked a power yet to go into. I've just kind of been watching it and looking at it and just trying to get my head around how it's all working and the different powers before I kind of go in to do one. I had a little play on the beta, but I didn't really delve too far deep into it. I understand the basic principles of it and how it works, and I think it's kind of that extra level of game that you can jump into and dip your toes into, I think, as and when you want. And I don't think it's a big earner. I think it's got some nice little bonuses and things that you can do. One thing that kind of frustrates me with it a little bit is that each power obviously has a set kind of way that, you know, one power might be a little bit more about trading, whereas another power might be a bit about combat, and obviously that makes sense for them to have sort of different niches that they go down. But I was kind of an Alliance boy, and I like the kind of lore behind the Alliance, and I was flying in Alliance space, and I thought I'd want to join with an Alliance kind of power, or, you know, a dictator within the Alliance faction. But the guy that was that power I didn't like, and his bonuses weren't very good, and it seemed like it was more all about trading, and I like a kind of widespread about things. But I think what I've got to think about PowerPlay is it's just another level of the game that you can dip your toes into. For example, if I align myself with the guy, I completely forget his name, whose you know, sort of allegiance is with the Alliance, then I can carry on doing a little bit of trading, doing a little bit of exploring, hunting in resource extraction sites and doing missions like I normally do. But then I can also dip my toes into trying to look at a station, look at a system that we can reinforce as a group and help to support the power a little bit as well, and kind of just dip my toes in as and when I want to, whilst doing other things as well. And I think that's the best element and the best way to describe it. I think that you could focus just on doing that if you wanted to. So if you saw there, I just sold my commodities for a profit of just over 260,000, which is awesome for the one jump that I've just made from station to station there. And I pick up my slaves and I head back to the same system I was in before to go and hand those in, and that also makes me around 260,000, so it's just over 500,000 credits for a sort of round trip of 2 jumps, which is just, it's good to have ways of making cash like that within the game so that you can work up to those ships that are very expensive. But I try not to make this game too much of a kind of grind, and sort of like to try and stay in open as much as possible, and also sort of mix up what I'm doing all the time. So I can never really sort of trade for more than an hour. I do an hour session, and then I might give the game a break for a little bit, and then perhaps jump into a combat ship, try and find some other players, or jump around in a resource extraction site. Or I've been thinking about fitting out an ASP and going travelling again, but obviously I don't want to miss out on the kind of PowerPlay action that's also going on at the moment once I do kind of settle and decide a power to choose. So lots of different options and things to do, and people that join the game always go, oh, it's boring, I don't know what to do, and there is a lot to do in the game, and it's slowly growing as well, and I think that's only a good thing. I think that PowerPlay it's probably a little bit overly complicated. I find it a little bit difficult to work it all out, and I don't think I'm the only one. I think other people struggle a little bit as well. Anyone that completely understands how it all works, I think, has probably put in a lot of hours, and someone like myself who's just a little bit casual gaming perhaps puts in an hour or two sort of every other evening, then it's difficult to kind of completely get your head round. And I kind of want to take my time with it. I don't need to rush. I understand you can join a power and then you can leave it and defect and join another one, but there's not really been a cause or something that's really grabbed my attention to make me want to delve into it just now. So I'm kind of going to skirt around on the edges and look at how things work before I decide to kind of float in and take that extra layer. I'd be really interested to hear what powers you've chosen and why. Is it because the lore and because you think that, you know, it's something that perhaps, I don't know, your morals within the game and the character that you have fit well with, or is it because purely for the bonuses that you get? That's something that I don't think the bonuses are something that it's going to be a reason why I pick it. I think I'm going to pick it for a kind of the fact that my character in the game fits well within this kind of the lore of the power, and depending on how that goes. So just going to see how that goes, really. I don't know if other people do this, but I always try and head towards the planet first and then kind of veer off towards the station in the hope that I'm going to be more towards the letterbox entrance way than I would be kind of jumping in from behind. I think that the letterboxes always face towards the planet, so it's always best to try and edge in that way if you can. I didn't quite make it that time, but at least I'm kind of to the side of it rather than right behind it, and this always makes it better, especially when you've got illicit cargo and you're trying to get in as quickly as you can with the tactics that I kind of do, fly in as quickly as you can before getting scanned, rather than the kind of cooling your ship down and trying to drift in unknown. Can make it quite tense as you fly through the letterbox at speed to try and get in there before being scanned. I've had a few sort of lost my shields as I've scraped in rather dodgy through the letterbox. Now my next ship is going to be focused on mining, and I'm not sure what type of ship to use yet, so if you've got any suggestions on a decent mining ship and how you'd fit it out, please write in the comments, and it's probably something that I'm going to do on my next video as well. So I'd like to try all the different aspects, and then after that little time I think I'll be ready to kind of delve into PowerPlay a little bit more, and hopefully I would have kind of chosen a power and felt a little bit of kind of allegiance towards it. So here I go, selling my slaves to finish off the round trip, and I get over 1,200 profit per one, so that's 261,000 profit for that. So that's well over £500,000 for the round trip. Till next time, fly safe.